Good evening, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And here we go. In the continuing fight of Sean versus technology.
It only took about a half an hour.
It's getting better. New setup. It's essentially the same setup we had before, but with new microphones and a new computer and stuff. And so getting from A to D sometimes mean you have to go to M, L, Q, E, ampersand.
Just sing the song. A, B, C, D.
I do every day when I have to look up something in that map book. Welcome to episode 15. I think it's 15.
Okay. We'll go with 15.
I didn't look it up before we started. And I still don't have Office on my computer, so we're like half-assing notes and stuff. So, yay, this is going to be all kinds of fun. We're trying. We're trying to make things better so we get more people to watch us. And we're kind of in that lull of trailers right now. So the big thing that gets our audience to come in and watch us on YouTube is that, and it's not around right now. We did a special double feature on Sunday. I may have been hungover. It wasn't too bad. But we did Infinity War and then watched Endgame again.
Yep.
And I caught a bunch of extra stuff that I hadn't caught in the past, and so that I was kind of glad that we kind of did that.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to, because they set stuff up in the first one, and then it's 18 months or 2 years or whatever before you watch it again.
Yeah.
Or watch Endgame, so you don't necessarily get that stuff.
I saw it 4 times in the theater, and I've watched it 3-4 times since we bought it last week, and we still haven't watched the director's commentary.
Right.
And I think it's Marcus, one of the writers. It's Marcus or McFeely. It's also on that commentary track that I really want to watch. But the extras, as much as I really like the extras, I'm going to be selfish. I wanted more.
Yeah, like the gag reel was super short, and was it the deleted scenes? There was only like 3.
Yeah.
So it was.
The featurette they did on Stan Lee was really cool, and the featurette they did on Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans and Chris Helmsworth was really cool.
Yep.
And they did one on the Russo brothers, so all that was really cool. But I'm not gonna lie, if they do an Uber Ultra edition with 10 hours of extras, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And
they will.
Oh, I'm sure.
They'll re-release
Disney
it.
wants all the monies, which we'll get into in a minute. But.
Yeah, they'll re-release it, or maybe they'll start putting some of that stuff on the Disney Plus channel.
That would be really interesting if they did like a show called Extras, and each week it's the behind the scenes of whatever it is.
Yeah, they could do
Star
that.
Wars or the animation part of Pixar or whatever, National Geographic and that kind of stuff.
Or they could just drop stuff and pull it like Netflix does.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We're going to help out Disney Plus spend our money. I want to talk about Peter Fonda's passing just for a moment. Icon of the industry. We watched Ride with Norman Reedus from last season, and his season finale was Norman Reedus and Peter Fonda on motorcycles riding through the Keys. And Peter Fonda's still doing stuff? Like, that was
and he looked
2018?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had lung cancer, which I would assume he had when they went on, or it was, super aggressive and they just found out. But yeah, he looked really good. We were even commenting on that when we watched it. That
I pulled up his IMDb earlier, and like he's still got stuff that just like they're still in post-production. Like he's got a ton of credits, and he would do all kinds of really cool, fun stuff, like Boondock Saints and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and 3:10 to Yuma, and
Well, yeah, he was not really, I don't know what you'd call him, like a B-list actor, because he wasn't like at least currently, now maybe back in the 70s, he
yeah,
was an A-list, starring Peter Fonda,
yeah.
but anymore he wasn't, but still, like, yeah, an icon. Like, you're like, what did he do besides
Easy Rider.
Easy Rider?
Yeah.
Yeah, and well,
I
he
think he
did a
was always
ton
one of those
stuff.
guys who just took jobs because he thought it would be cool. He never took a
Yeah,
job
yeah.
for, no, he was nominated twice for an Oscar, won twice for an Oscar. Hold on, I have the article up. Thanks, people. I'm not buying whatever you're trying to sell me.
Probably magazines.
Yeah, probably. Talk amongst yourselves. I saw it. It was, I think, a 2-time nominated Oscar winner,
Sure.
but he never came across as one of those guys who was like, I'm taking this job because I want to be in the awards circuit, or I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
to, I'm looking to be, a big time household celebrity. I think he took jobs because he really liked it,
Yeah.
and
I think his sister is kind of the same way.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
she's done a ton of stuff, but I, sadly, I think what everybody still knows her for is her protests against the Vietnam War.
yeah. Well, and that's fine too. Uh, I,
Well, she's come out. This is completely off topic, but she's come out recently. I read something maybe a year ago that she's really regrets kind of maybe how she did it. She doesn't regret the fact that she was against the war because
Right, right.
honestly, in hindsight, lots of people were against that war. But that the effect that it had on the vets and the people
Right,
that
right,
were
right.
coming home.
Yeah, I think she was on one of the Hollywood Reporter roundtables, and she
Yeah,
kind of talked
set
about that
set.
for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Disney because they have all the monies. First off, let's talk about Disney Plus for a second. They announced today with D23, that's what it's called, coming up this week. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming out of that. But the big thing was if you are going to D23, you can sign up for Disney Plus there.
Oh.
And it's gonna you get $23 off a year if you do a 3-year commitment right there. So if you walk in the door
Holy
and put
crap.
3 years down,
Yeah.
you get $23 off each year. So it ends up being only like, I think it was going to be $70 for a year as it was. So
$6.99.
So that's $80 or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So it's $60. You do 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
You know you're going to spend that. You know you're going to do that 3 years with all the Marvel stuff coming and all the Star Wars stuff coming and all
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But the other thing that was really cool about this announcement was they talked about if you're there and you sign up at D23 for Disney Plus, you get an enamel pen. And you can only get the enamel pens there. And it's called Founder's Circle. So you become part of the Founder's Circle.
Ooh.
Very culty.
Well, Walt Disney was.
Yes. The other thing I talked about was kind of the extended rollout in this article, that the prices and that all that kind of stuff, and when you're going to be able to get it in like New Zealand and China
Right.
and blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, and what it's going to cost in each of those locations and
Oh, cool.
and stuff. So it was kind of it was kind of the first. I won't say big announcement because we knew it was coming, but it's the first real announcement rolling in a D23.
Well,
And-
doesn't it come out in November?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so soon.
Soon, yeah. Well, I'm suspecting that D23 is they actually have a they call it in hall D23 at D23. Malkovich.
It's Hall D, and they
D
just stuck a 23 on the end of it.
They have an hour and a half long panel just for Disney Plus.
Okay. Yep.
not including their Star Wars panel, not including their Marvel panel, not including the Pixar
Right.
panel, not including the Founders Circle, like all this other stuff that's going on.
Right.
So I'm not a big super Disney guy, but this would have been kind of fun to go to, I think.
Yeah, a little something extra that you wouldn't probably ordinarily
yeah.
get. Yeah, it'll be nice to see what. I mean, I would assume it's going to be available on, Roku and Fire Stick and
Yeah.
PlayStation and Xbox, but it would be nice to kind of get that out there.
That's what I think that panel's going to be.
Yeah.
Here's how you're going to be able to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, here's the stuff that's coming for it. And
Right.
so
Right.
with maybe a little bit more extra info, we know about the Marvel stuff. We know about the Mandalorian.
Yep.
The Star Wars stuff is getting its own panel at D23. So we might get like a specific Mandalorian panel kind of thing. We'll talk about Disney's year here for a minute, and then I'm going to come back around to D23 with the announcement that came out this week that I think was not supposed to be announced.
Uh-oh.
But let's talk about Disney's year so far. As of this last week, Toy Story 4 has officially crossed the $1 billion in box office revenue for the year.
Crazy.
And it's still in the theaters.
Yeah.
Place Endgame still in theaters. This was the 5th movie from Disney to go over the 1 billion mark. And there's been 6 movies who've gone over $1 billion this year. The top 6 movies have all gone over $1 billion. The only other one that it's gone over $1 billion is Spider-Man: Far From Home, which is technically a Sony movie.
Okay, so there's 6 movies this year that have gone over $1 billion, and 5 of them are Disney.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was trying to follow the bouncing ball. I got lost.
It's right now. It's Endgame. They had the list up here for a second. Captain Marvel, Endgame, Aladdin, Lion King, Toy Story 4. All 5 of those have all gone over $1 billion.
Aladdin.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
And then the other thing about Toy Story 4 is that it's made $421.8 million domestically. So it's almost half of there has been domestic. Mm-hmm. It now stands as the 5th highest grossing animated movie of all time, behind Incredibles, Finding Dory, Shrek 2, and the live action Lion King.
Incredibles 2.
Did I say Incredibles 2?
You said Incredibles.
Oh, Incredibles 2.
It's Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2.
I was reading.
And Lion King, which they're calling an animated movie. Except those lions are fucking talking.
Are they talking about this one, or are they talking about the original, which is an animated
That
movie?
2019 one.
Oh, okay.
The
All
one
right.
that came out this year. Which we can have a whole, diatribe conversation,
Is that animated?
whatever.
Is it really?
It is computer generated, but like I said, they're fucking talking to me. It's creepy. The other thing about all of the stuff that Disney's done this year, we still have Rise of Skywalker and we still have Frozen.
Yes.
So the conversation that was going on about a week and a half ago was actually it was last week during IgerCon. One of the things they talked about was that Disney has lost $150-ish million because of Dark Phoenix, New Mutants, and some of the other Fox properties that didn't do as well as expected, or they're just probably just going to get scrapped. So they're complaining about losing $150 million, which I understand. It's an earnings call. You're going to talk about that kind of thing.
Right.
But when you turn
got
around...
$5 billion movies.
Right. I was going to say $8 billion total so far with those 5.
Right. Wow. Okay.
And they're getting like half of the Spider-Man one. Because sharesies. And you still have Rise of Skywalker. You still have Frozen 2 and this thing called Disney Plus.
Right.
So we're getting...
Disney's going to be okay.
Yeah, and people was one of the things we talked about in Rebel Files this week too, was that the attendance at the parks have gone down because you're charging $7 million a person to get in the door, and nobody wants to spend that money and deal with all the crowds and everything. And so people are like, it's down 3%. Well, in the grand scheme of things, 3% is down, but it's not a huge number, especially if you're looking at it like pull out, pull all the way out, instead of just talking about the parks and just talking about the movies and whatever. You pull all the way out. Disney as a whole, they're making money.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, they should be able to figure out how to fix the parks. I mean, you've got to
don't make it $250 a day per person to walk in the door.
Right. Yeah. I was just talking with somebody who I was kind of talking about our plans over the next year of things that we're going to, and actually talking about Tomorrowland and the package deal and everything. And they were like, it would cost me that much to take my kids to Disneyland. They're like $3,000 a person for this package deal, and it's flights and hotel and tickets to the show and everything. And they were like, $7,000, it would cost me that to take my two kids to Disneyland.
Right.
And you've got the hotel and the airfare and the staying at the park, and it's a lot of freaking money. Most people can't afford that.
Josh was saying when Josh and Audrey and Gareth went before he left, it was like $3,000, and they went through Costco package.
Yeah.
Now they stayed at the resort on, and stuff like that. But we looked at going for our anniversary because of Galaxy's Edge, and it just to get the hotel and passes, it was $2,000.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go walk into Galaxy's Edge and spend another $1,000 on stuff.
Yeah.
And it just
and
doesn't
we're
make any
not
sense.
going because we have little kids. I mean, when you have kids, like, it's kind of obligatory that you have to take them to Disneyland at least once. We did. Because that's just sad if the kids grow up and haven't gone to Disneyland. But as adults, do I want to spend that kind of money just so we can go to Galaxy's Edge? I mean, we probably are going to, but it just doesn't, for the money, the ROI.
Right.
It's not
great right now, and I think eventually they'll bring the prices back down. They've already talked about. This is not what I wanted to talk about tonight, but whatever, we're going with it. They're already talking about that they are cutting back on employees' hours and letting some of the employees go and stuff like that because they just don't have as much going on at the park. But it's not like there's not people going to the park too. I mean, they're still busy. It's not like you can walk around like arm in arm across the way. Well, and I think that they
need to do what they're doing with Galaxy's Edge, and you need to reserve your time ahead of time. Instead of just.
I'm not gonna lie. If Disney had its, let's say, $250 a person, and we schedule a time to be there, or you limit the number of people in the park, I'd be much more reticent to go, because I don't want to go spend $250 a person and then go stand in a line for 3 hours for a ride that lasts 3 minutes.
Right.
And then do that for 3 days. It doesn't sound fun to me. I'd rather go to the beach, or I'd rather go to Comic-Con. I'd rather go to Vegas. They're
going to charge you $250 a person, and your max wait in line is 15 minutes. That's much more appealing.
Right. Speaking of Disney, let's talk about Josh and I will do a deep dive on this tomorrow for Rebel Files, but Ewan McGregor is coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yay!
And normally I would save this story, but this is kind of a bigger story. There was the talk of the movie right around when Solo came out. Solo kind of got
bad rap.
The movie had problems from the beginning, and then Bob Iger put his foot down and wouldn't let them move the dates, and so they got it rushed, and that whole production was cursed from jump.
Yeah.
And Ewan was at the premiere, which just fueled the flames of the fire
Right,
of we're gonna
right.
do, we're gonna do all these Star Wars stories. We're gonna do Kenobi, a Star Wars story. That's the next one they're gonna announce. And then when it failed and made $600 million, $680 million instead of $1 billion, like Disney and Lucasfilm, I won't say panicked, but they took a huge pause on everything outside of the end of the Skywalker series.
Yeah. Catherine Kennedy definitely, she was kind of riding high there for a bit.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of that and
Last
Last
Jedi,
Jedi
yeah.
were kind of a little bit of a shot in the arm. And so they just collectively decided to kind of step back. And
So they all step back, and then we have the introduction of Disney Plus, which opens up a whole can of worms of different things. And the current rumor is Ewan McGregor is signed on to play Obi-Wan Kenobi in a 6-episode series, and he's also going to direct it. Now, and it's coming to Disney Plus, and I think that this story was supposed to be saved for Disney Plus, but it got leaked, and Disney hasn't come out officially and said anything official.
Oh.
But Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, like trusted people in the industry,
Yeah.
actually are saying like this is actually going to happen, and so that's like I part of the Disney Plus presentation.
Right.
Or the Star Wars presentation at
Right.
D23, I think is going to be this.
Okay. Well, I mean, it'll be, not all their thunder's stolen. They can confirm it and they can talk about it a little bit more.
Right,
and
right.
Maybe Ewan McGregor will be there.
Right.
and-
I think that was going to be the surprise was
Yeah.
they were to say, and we have this a new series coming out, and
Yeah.
then have Ewan come out. Hello
Yeah.
there.
They'll
Josh,
probably still do it.
Josh and I will do a deep dive on what we want to see and stuff like that on the Rebel Files tomorrow. I have a really cool theory, and I would really like to see it happen. So we'll see. We'll see. The only other there's a couple other stories. Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin from Fat Man Beyond are going to do a He-Man.
He-Man.
Dun, Masters of the Universe. I was never a big He-Man guy, so I don't really care, but I really like those two, and they're going to do a animated series for Netflix. They've been teasing that they're doing this thing. That's really cool. Stephen Amell came out today and announced that actually it was Deadline that first announced it, and Stephen just kind of went with it. Stephen Amell, his next project after Arrow is done is going to be a show for Stars called Heels. It's about two brothers who are in an independent wrestling league, and they're in the South, and they're going to be wrestlers who think fighting with the family.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking
that
of.
kind of thing. But
Yeah.
they're trying to make it as people, and the way they make their money is this wrestling league.
Yeah.
And Stephen Amell is going to play in the league itself. He's going to play the big bad, the heel, and then his brother is going to be on the show. His brother in the show is going to be the good guy, but it's more about what they do outside the ring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think
we'll
it's a eight episode order has already been placed, so they're going straight to series. So
Right.
very interested in that because I liked Fighting with the Family.
Yeah.
And I like Stephen Amell. Okay, where'd this story go? All right, we're going to talk about something because
It was funny.
it's funny. In Hendrick County, right?
Henrico.
Henrico? Okay. Henrico County, Virginia. Residents living in a Virginia neighborhood woke up to find free televisions on their doorstep.
Yay.
Not kidding. Except it's like the
These are old.
the old like 13-inch.
What they call them CRT.
Yeah.
So think the old monochrome monitors,
Yeah. So there's actually Ring doorbell video of somebody walking up in coveralls and a TV head straight from Saga delivering these TVs with the screen facing the front door in the middle of the night.
Which it just makes like Like, okay, first of all, if you can afford a Ring doorbell, you're not needing a TV, right? This isn't like a Secret Santa. You people are poor and you can't afford a TV. I'm going to bring you one.
Right.
Second of all, if the screens are facing the door, do you think that he or she thought, like, we're going to make people think it's an invasion of televisions and television head is depositing its children? So when you open the door,
I have so many questions. Oh my God. Okay, we can go.
And this really isn't a cool thing because now you've got to figure out how to dispose. You can't just throw that in the
You can't throw
trash.
those away. Yeah,
Don't just throw your TVs in the trash.
and you can't give it a Goodwill anymore. They won't take
right,
it.
they're not going to take them.
And so, like there's two parts. There's TV head boy, girl, person. There's that whole thing, and apparently he did this before in a
Different neighborhood.
This exact same time last year. So there's this running,
It's a pattern.
It's a pattern. The first thing I asked was, is it Bansky? This would totally be a Bansky kind of thing.
Doesn't Bansky live in the UK?
Does Bansky really live anywhere?
Oh, go online. They think they know who it is.
Yeah, it's the doctor. But my second thing, which was a great joke, and if you missed it this season, you have to go watch the Rosa Parks episode. The second thing is the news coverage of this is fucking hilarious. So the news we actually watched like the local news.
Yeah.
And the news anchor like kept her shit together really well. Like we're taking this story very seriously. Very serious. But they have video of the police officers from the county going around door to door and grabbing all of these TVs and throwing them back.
Right.
And the cops are pissed that they're having to do all this manual labor. This is the most important thing that's happened in their little county since last year when it happened. And it's not like it's like one or two or 10.
Right.
It's 50 TVs.
And where do you get 50 old TVs? Like, does this person own a pawn shop? Do they own a junk? Is it Fred Sanford? And he's just got all these. And wouldn't your friends notice if you owned a shop and all these TVs suddenly weren't there anymore? Is it a hoarder?
Does he buy one a week?
Where do you buy them from?
He goes to Goodwill and buys one like once he travels around Virginia and
Maybe
West
it's
Virginia.
Somebody that owns like a Savers, like a knockoff Goodwill.
Yeah.
And they're like, get these fucking TVs out of my shop. And he just takes them back to people's houses because they all brought them to him.
Yeah. It's just the whole story is amazing. And I will post it. I'll post the main story that I came across from the local news. I'll post it on the Facebook page when we get done because I have so many questions. That's this week's show. Tell us what you thought. Actually, let me go here. I want everyone to leave me a comment if they are getting Disney Plus. Just say, yes, I'm getting Disney Plus, or no, I'm not getting Disney Plus. Just tell us. We want to do a straw poll. We're interested to see what everybody's doing. We are getting
Disney Plus. Like if they announce that we can do the 3-year.
I will be a Founder Circle.
One
of us. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. But blue milk. But no. Tell us in the comments that if you are to say yes, I'm getting Disney Plus, and I'm super excited to see what people say there. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're on the podcast feed, please subscribe to our podcast feed. Patreon. We're on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, sometimes Twitter, and Stardust App. And that's it. That's this week's show. And until next time, we're trying to watch Monday Night Football. And until next time, good night, cult members.